It's 601, and this is episode 3 and 1, and this is Open Class Doodles. Let's say the history part of Open Class Doodles, because it has become like some sort of mutual understanding that we all come together at least every 2 weeks or so, and we talk about the mysterious search into our history, into our mysterious past. And why? Because it's part of entertainment. It's great for the brain. It kind of alleviates the pain from being around reality, and it kind of drives our image scenario mental attic into different directions, which is always a great source of inspiration and new images, pictures, and ideas. And so, therefore, welcome everybody to the COACHMC studio. Welcome to Open Class Doodles, episode 31. Tactical doodles for success. Sometimes it's about improving your skill set. Sometimes it's about, philosophical topics and more mindset oriented topics. Sometimes it's about career strategies. Today it's about history. Today it's about unearthing all the mysterious, fragments of the past and putting them together in one cohesive picture and really understanding what went on. Why? Because it's fun, and because, like I said, it's part of who we are, and therefore it's part of our entertainment, it's part of our culture, it's part of our literature, and it's part even of this platform called YouTube. So without any further ado, let's jump right into it and let's see what's cooking. And let's welcome also these wonderful gentlemen that somehow managed to hijack my channel every second Tuesday of the month. Let's welcome and let's give a warm round of applause to Ryan Roger Athay and to Dragon Slayer Commentaries. Welcome, good sirs and bigots.
Oh, hello, Coach. I hope you're doing well, you superstar, you. Wink, wink, nod, nod. It's great to see Dragon Slayer as well. I found a way to make Coach as uncomfortable as possible. So now I'm going to
somehow he can dig on people.
We got a big star. This is a big star who's visiting us. Thank you so much, Hypno, for stopping by. Dexinar O or Dexinar 0? I never understood is it a 0 or is it a O? Nice, I like
one
that.
Of those. My goodness.
Yes, and there is, of course, one of our favorite guests here, Vincinger, aka El Otaku, aka the Wee Pillar. Stop, amigos. Just started to do some digital art. Nice. Maybe you want to share it. Yeah, great. Digital art is great. Smash. Either one works. Hey, that's cool.
Oh, Lord.
Oh, why do we...
Oh, wait. Never mind. This is acceptable, actually.
This is
acceptable, actually. Yeah,
okay.
This is Atreus and his wife.
What?
Would you kindly smash the like button for this incredible art proposition that we have from our favorite Welsh wizard, the word wizard from Wales.
Now we have been demonetized.
No, that's it.
Said what the picture was about.
I am an expert in making people as uncomfortable as I find enjoyable.
Is it that you want to project your own uncomfortableness onto other people so you kind of alleviate the pain a little bit? What is it?
I like finding soft spots and fucking jamming them. And this guy's a great superstar, folks. Yeah.
I don't know what he's always talking about. Dexinar 0. Ryan finds much inspiration in a trace. Yes. Makes you wonder. Makes you wonder what happens when the cameras are turned off, Ryan.
Who would have known?
Hey, look, black men are the easiest to draw. They have the most comedic.
God!
It's not true. I mean, look at this. Look at this. And I got some criticism because I painted him slightly lightly colored, right? In this picture here, Trace. I earned some criticism yesterday on Countercast, right? He's like, he's fairly skin. He's a bit of
the sun shining on his skin.
That's what I was saying. It's the flames. Look at the fire. It's kind of
God. And was it Leon, the little tranny? Was it him?
Yeah. The way you drew me, the way you drew me, Coach, is very, very similar to a content creator I know called the author Stephen Walton. He's also known as Ladonis Dragonstorm. He has that airline. He does wear glasses, and he does have
Oh
a
my God.
grayish beard. So good one on that, my good man.
You know what's funny? Hypno thought I was the gay dragon on the top right. I'm like, motherfucker, don't you see the hoodie?
Right, he has the hoodie. He's saying gay. He's not the gay dragon. Look, he has the hoodie on, and he's got his favorite animal that he never shows. I know about him.
What?
I know about the
what
animal.
animal?
Stop.
What?
Just admit it.
What?
Open yourself up, right? Don't push it away. It's there.
Hey,
Right.
Dragon,
What
Dragon,
animal?
Before we get into the meat
Look
and
at him.
potatoes of this show, Dragon, I have a question. Do you know what
Hypno, you're a
wallpaper
masked
engine
hoe.
is?
Okay, just accept it. What? Sorry.
Do you know what wallpaper engine is?
What? Yes, why?
I
I'm
don't.
just-
Can you please tell me what it is?
Oh my God. Ryan, I'm not gonna get into that.
Topic,
You like
topic,
jabbing your shit. I am not giving you any ground on that.
I don't
I'm
know
not.
what wallpaper engine is. Please,
Yes.
can someone tell me?
Oh my God. What do you mean, right? Ryan, come on. Oh my God.
Do you need a minute,
It's
guys?
just to make
okay,
I've seen it before. I've seen it
No,
before. It's to
please.
create animated. It's to create animated and interacted wallpapers. It's sort of like
Oh.
those
Thank
ones
you.
you see some
Thank you.
people running around. Like for example, this one that we have on the background here. That would be an interactive. Well, if somebody could turn it into one, it would be an interactive wallpaper you would put on your screen.
I see. That's
But
cool.
this is-
Yeah.
Yeah,
I see what you mean.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Thank you for
yeah.
answering my question, Dragon, because it
You're
flashed on my Steam analysis system. Hypno is playing wallpaper engine.
Smash the like button, as you can see here.
my
Guys,
goodness.
today, in all seriousness, this is probably one of our greatest shows in terms of, and thank you so much. Thank you for the compliment. I really appreciate it. I also sell those. So, all the drawings, all the technical doodles, right? They need to get out of here anyways and be on another wall. I can't stand them anymore once I created them. So if you're interested in my art, guys, also DM me.
Buy this German's art, or bad things will happen.
I'm not a German. I'm Sicilian. I kind of grew up in Germany. He's playing Cyberpunk. Oh, nice.
Oh, nice. I'm
Nice.
playing Baldur's Gate 3. Okay, I took the dive. Now that I think about it,
Bear fucking simulator, coach. That's what he's
not
playing.
the fucking bear.
We know why. We know why.
Oh,
Admit
fuck
it.
you too.
Yeah. Stop.
Okay,
Stop.
I try out a new fucking game. Get fucking harassed. Everybody's like, "Oh, this thing is the best thing ever." It's like it's so magical. And then I'm like, it's fucking turn based. I don't want to. Then I play it. I'm like, oh, okay, this looks kind of all right. And then the first thing Ryan says is, "Oh, so you're a bad fucker." And I'm like, no, ass. Anyway, back to this.
Okay. Thank you.
Ryan, don't take notes of that.
I am.
He takes notes of everything. He's so creepy. Have
He's
you-
like-
Yeah, I gotta make videos somehow, coach. So I might as well make them off other fucking
He's like
creators.
oh man, he's like what's it called? He's like the most expert blackmailer ever. He's got everything on you, even if you don't know. But right, we're talking about yes, the Medusa. Right, sorry. Continue,
No,
sir.
what? No. What's
For
what's
now,
wrong with
for
you
now.
tonight?
Okay,
Good,
there.
good. No, so, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. And what do we have here? So, this is the mysterious tribe that I was talking about also on my Instagram today when I announced the show. And I called it, to make it a bit more dramatic, but actually it's not so far away from the truth. I called it, as an announcement, the Order of the Serpent. And so today we're gonna take a deep dive into this mysterious civilization that somehow, right, kind of maybe influenced mankind more than any other culture on this planet. Others may call this tribe that I call the Order of the Serpent, the Scythians. And we talked about the Scythians also, a couple of shows ago when we talked about Greek mythology, and also when we talked about the Phrygian camp. And somehow the Scythians are always kind of surfacing. They're somehow always in the game, but it's very difficult to really pinpoint who they are, where they came from, and what they created, and why they are so important. So today we're going to talk about this mysterious civilization, the Scythians and the Order of the Serpent. Let's welcome everybody to Open Class Doodles, also on the chat. So, snakes and the connection to hair, to long hair, is known throughout antiquity, right? We are always connecting long hair with mysterious beings, with powerful beings, right? With if you think about the Thule Society, that kind of co-created, the National Socialist movement in Germany, they were actually a secret society, and they had muses, they had those medium, like women that were capable of seeing and hearing things from other planes and realms. And they were called, the Club of the Long Hair, because they had such long hair. And if you think also of Gilgamesh and Samson, we have this reoccurring theme that long hair stands for wisdom, it stands for power, it stands for strength, right? The Emperor of China, of course, and if he would cut his hair off, that would be a sign that he's abducting, right? That he's, kind of releasing his power. So, Dusa and Hades was super good, and indeed, absolutely. Dex and R0, and not Jumastable and this is, but yeah. And so there is this mysterious civilization. And we talked about the, out of Africa theory many, many times, and why we think it's kind of unconclusive in the way we distribute it, in the way we look, in the way everything kind of, to think of that everything comes out of Africa and somehow developed then over the globe, it makes in so many ways no sense at all. And there is another theory that says, actually, guys, probably what we call, this new human civilization that kind of, conquered planet Earth after the last ice age, is actually coming from the Caucasus. And so this is where we're going to start our discovery today, or exploration today, in the Caucasus mountain regions, which is a region that it somehow also separates, if you want to call it so, the European Asian part from Europe, right? This is where Russia ends in the Caucasus Mountains, and all these, different republics all of a sudden kind of spring off. And this is where we have the Black Sea that kind of, is bordering, and we will show also some pictures, is bordering with the Turkish lands, with southern Turkey, but also with the European side. So it's a very interesting region in the middle of Europe and Asia. It's somehow at the crossroad of all these ancient trade routes and civilizations that were kind of in commerce with each other. And it is most likely that along those trade routes that civilizations were flourishing, just exactly like it was in Jordan with the city of Petra, right? Where we have a city that was in the middle of nowhere, but it was at the center of trade routes. So probably civilization sprang off more on those crossroads, on those knots, rather than somewhere in the wilderness and then out of the blue kind of tried to conquer the land. No, it was because there was a common interest for people, rivers, commerce, exchange of goods, of languages, of everything that you would need for your daily life. This is where civilizations would actually kind of, spring off. And nice, the Kafkas. Yes, that you see it right there. And the Kafkas, we're gonna of course talk about it, is a very, that's the griffin, right? That's a very, very interesting theme. And everything that we know so far is that there was this period, right? And we talked about the Bronze Age last time, and there you can chip in, Dragon Slayer. There was this period where the Indo-German or the Indo-European languages were born, right? And somehow these Indo-European cultures spread to India, Mesopotamia, to the Asia Minor states, and all over the Balkan. And so all of a sudden, these Indo-European cultures, it's difficult to pinpoint, but let's say 1500 BC, right? Kind of, took over, most of the common land. And it is believed, and also through research, it has been proven that this region of the Caucasus, right, we have the so-called Caucasians, right? This is where we all get our name from. And there were three major phenotypes, three pillars of that DNA string. And they successively, respectively, we had the Japhetic, and we will talk about the names and the meanings as well, that moved and migrated more to Europe. We had the Semite tribes of the Caucasus that then migrated to Asia and then down to Mesopotamia. As a matter of fact, there is this interesting connection to Sumer and the Caucasus, and then the Hamitic tribes, the Caucasian Hamitic tribes that then migrated down to Africa. So it looks like this Caucasus region, that it was very fertile, very interesting, and a huge connection, like a huge it was like a central distribution line for trade, for commerce, for culture, for religion, for military goods, for everything, that was at the center of this new evolution of what we now call the Indo-Germans or the Indo-Europeans.
Well, you look at the Caucasus on a map, folks, and when you look at Eurasia, that's mixing Europe, the Middle East, and Asia together. It is in the central point between all the influential areas of those regions, unlike, say, in what is now the Stan territory from Kazakhstan to Pakistan, whereas that could be seen as more central, but it's further away from Europe and Africa in that respect. So you could say that from that center, the Caucasus mountain region, everything else spread out from that region. Yes. And you look, it's dead center, folks.
It is.
To the north, you've got the plains of Russia. To the south, you've got the deserts of Arabia. To the west, you've got Anatolia and, of course, mainland Europe. And to the east, you've got the mountains of Persia, as well as the plains of what's now called the Stan territories, the Hindu Kush, of course, going whether it's to Tibet, now it's called Tibet, well, it's technically China, as well as the hot hellhole that is India.
It's always great to be demonetized right away, so we get it off our chest. I believe it's far better as a procedure, waiting, trying tiptoeing around. I get demonetized right away, so we can have fun.
Hey, I'm being nice here. I'm being nice. I didn't say shithole. I said hot hell.
It's good that you're being nice. I wonder what will happen to your enemies when you start not getting nice. This is gonna be. I'm gonna leave the planet in this case.
Oh my God.
So all the civilized people went north and west, and all the uncivilized people went south, southwest, and east.
Well, I mean, up to a point, because like if we go past the desert and mountainous regions, they do end up being more civilized. Now, the only reason this happens, of course, is because, I mean, common sense. Let's be honest. In the south towards the Arabian
I think
regions,
you have audio problems.
What do you mean?
I can hear some.
What do you mean?
Yes, you are squirting. You sound like you're making love to Darth Vader. You know, the usual stuff. You know.
And he says he's not German. He can't say fucking.
Let's prove we got dudes. We got Coach in the house.
Let's prove Coach is not German. Coach, can you say squirrel?
Squirrel.
You can fucking say it. Yeah. How they used to rat out German spies. My goodness.
Yeah, I know. And French spies, it's chickpeas, right? So chickpeas in Sicilian, they are called Ishaishi, and French people couldn't spell it. So the French agents that were still living in Sicily, they were uncovered by say Sheshi, and they said Sheshi. Yeah, said, boom. All right, dead. He's a spy.
Shit.
Oh shit!
That's pretty boil down my. But I just wanted to boil down my and then we can move on. And basically, if you draw a line across the Caucasus. Generally, everything to the north of it is civilized. Everything to the south of it isn't.
It's not true. You can do
Well,
such
it's
an
more like
arbitrary.
the South is full of desolate
Okay,
deserts
maybe
and
if I
harsh mountain
drew the
regions.
line,
No,
you
but
know,
if you just repropose that sentence, you could say there is a difference between cultural development in the north and
Oh, sure, yeah.
civilization development, right? Because there are two different things technically. A civilization
yeah.
is not necessarily a culture, and vice versa. So
Well,
we
I
can
mean,
say-
yeah, all the southern, if you will, all the southern cultures that moved to the Middle East and the northern African coastlines obviously were more civilized than the ones living in the desert because these civilizations either settled near the Tigris and Euphrates rivers or near the coastlines, and so they were
Right.
able to maintain stable civilizations. But because there was such a lack of resources, they were in constant wars with other other civilizations, but at the same time with with roving nomadic tribes. And the same thing can be said of mountainous regions.
yes.
Of course, in the north and the west, at that point, it's more like competition over just pure fucking greed.
No, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah, like usually.
even the Bible says, right? Mount Ararat, right? This is what we see here, was
Yeah,
the
yeah.
landing site after the 40 days of floods for Noah. And we know that one of the sons of Noah, his name is Japhet, and Japhet, right, is the guy who gave birth to, you know, the Western civilizations with his offspring. So there is something, again, connecting the Caucasus, even in the biblical tales, that kind of tells us a story about how civilization and culture at the same time spread it out of there. Here I have it from a great video that kind of that talks about that from Robert Sapphire as well, that he brings it very well together. So this region here gave birth
some
to
very interesting symbols.
Oh,
And you
God.
criticize me for
Oh,
being
yeah.
demonetizing.
This is all cultural stuff, right? So everything that we have, this is why we call it the
YouTube.
Order of the Serpent, right? These people here, the
Yeah.
Indo-Germans, they brought and we know that, of course, that the swastika is not a swastika. It's not a sign of racism or anything. It's nothing else than the Big Dipper on the 21st of December when we have the solstice. The Big Dipper can be seen throughout the 12-hour, almost 8 hours of night sky. And when you take pictures of it, this is exactly how it looks, right? These are the this is like, how can I say it? Like when you have a high exposure, like a full exposure, a long exposure picture. If you would see how the constellation moves over the night ecliptic in 8 hours during the 21st of December, it kind of looks exactly like this. It looks like the swastika. And also the Trischelia from the Irish people is nothing else than Ursa Minor during the 21st of December. In long exposure, if you see the movement of the constellation, the legs moving throughout the night, it looks exactly like the sign. This was the sign that, the Savior, the sun, would come back. That's why it was the symbol also of the sun. But in a way, it was just a symbol kind of announcing 21st of December, the 3 days where the sun stays at the same position on the horizon, and then it starts climbing up, especially in the northern European regions or in the northern parts. Exactly, in the Caucasus, it would make a lot of sense, kind of tracking the 21st of December and tracking how that constellation would move. So you would know after that day, you have 3 days of breaks, and then spring would eventually come back. So for the fields, for the horses, for the cattle, this was a fundamental day. Less in the south, where we talked about this also last time, where the sun was prevalently there throughout the year, right? There was no disappearance of the sun like in the winter months, like in the northern parts of Europe. So people wouldn't miss the sun and kind of, timing themselves, their lives, their culture, their agriculture towards that, kind of resurrection of the sun. It wouldn't make sense for the southern parts of all these regions because they would have the sun. There's no need for, looking for the sun. It's there throughout the year. But in the northern parts, this concept of tracking the time through the gammadion or the tetraskelion or the swastika, how some people like to call it, would make a lot of sense and was and was a fundamental part of their culture. If you grow cattle, if you have horses, you run stables, you need to, grow crops, all that. 21st of December is one of the big days during the year. And so this is definitely their sign. And here we can see a beautiful spread out from the Caucasus. Like in the Bible, Bible is described, by the way, right? We have an exact correspondence also in development of genes, of languages, and also of how these cultures with tall features, tall muscular bone structure, blonde hair and blue eyes, fairly skinned, kind of spread out in all these three major directions.
It's interesting that I just find it very interesting of the fact that the original meaning of the swastika was basically exactly as I suspected, which is just a symbol of hope and guidance, really.
Yes.
But instead, some
No,
that's really no.
Yeah,
No. Like that. I know. Go ahead. That was what the original meaning of the damn symbol was. Then a mustache
you
man
do
came
realize,
along.
Dragon, I'm
Right.
going to turn this
I know.
into a video, and you're
I
going
know.
to be revealed as a bad person.
I know. I already said I'm white like a million times. How many times?
gee.
That's the thing.
26 minutes dead for that.
Oh.
There we go.
No, but in the original meaning, it was derived. The original name came from India, and it meant well-being and hope and so on and so forth. That's why. But I just thought it was very interesting that was his original meaning. Then somebody turned it upside down to mean the total opposite.
We have a beautiful and very interesting quote here to kind of solidify this initial very interesting statement of ours here. Arthur Keith, he was quoted in the Ur excavations, and believe it or not, I was also invited to an Ur excavation once, but then there were some conflicts that broke out for the Italian Archaeological Institute, and I couldn't go. And so here we have that the Sumerians certainly belong to the same racial division of mankind as the nations of Europe. There are Scythians, Scions, and the Caucasian stock. So there are Scythians. And I was saying this a couple of times already. Sumer, in the meaning so far that I could find, means nothing else than south. It's south of Persia. It's south of Caucasus. It's Shmer. Shmer means the land of the south. It wasn't a kingdom in itself. It was a branch of the grand unified kingdom that kind of branched out and ramified down until the Mesopotamian basin out of the Caucasus, and not coming necessarily out of the, as crazy as that sound, out of the African continent.
Well, when I think of Sumer, as in Sumeria, I always think of summer. Because it's always hot.
Very good. It's very hot. Absolutely good. This is where we got it. Ishtar, the goddess, is Eastern, right? This is where we have the word Eastern, because it's the goddess Ishtar. She was, of course, celebrating the full moon after the equinox of spring. This is where we always know when we have the full moon after the equinox. This is when we have Ishtar. This is Semiramis, right? This is when we have Eastern. That's why we have the bunny and the egg, which nobody can explain, or they rather won't explain it. It has to do with the Babylonian tradition, right? Because Ishtar, Semiramis, she was born out of an egg after the ovulation period of the moon. So the full moon threw an egg into Euphrates and Tigris, it cracked up, and Semiramis was born. And so in that time of Eastern was born. Easter was born. And so therefore we celebrated with an egg. And Tamrus, her son, who then was killed by herself, right? He was cultivating and making genetical experiments with rabbits. And so when he died, she said he ascended to the sky. And so in his favor, to venerate him every year when we have the full moon after the spring equinox, everybody should venerate the rabbit and the egg, the mother and the son. This is why
and
we
look
have
for Easter eggs everywhere.
Exactly.
You must search for him. and worship him.
Yeah, it's
we go.
absolutely fascinating, Jundo. Absolutely, yeah. The South Caucasus is warm. It's almost in the dry ages is one of those areas where we find mummies, fossil remains. It's incredible, and we're always talking about tall feature, muscular bodies, even tattoos. The Scythians and in the Caucasus, these were the people who tattooed themselves the first. This is why we have tall, kind of fair-haired, fair-skinned mummies in China as well. These were the people we're talking about. Gaze at the Gozerian factor in this. We will talk about this in a second after this public service announcement. Thank you so much for following and smash the like button.
Does that say Gozer or Gazer? No, it says Gozer.
No, Gozer or Gozer, I guess. That's what he's trying
Gozer.
to say. Yeah, Gozer.
Gozer is the seer, and so the thing Kafkas or Caucasus doesn't. It's similar to the meanings of Europa or Medusa. It has always something to do with seeing, perceiving. It has always something to do with illumination. Actually, the word itself means eyes shining white like snow. Koikases. Koikafkas. The eyes are shining. The eye is watching. The eye is shining. Where do we know all this, right? The eyes are shining white like snow. Or Europa means eyes wide open, right? This is why Stanley Kubrick's movie was Eyes Wide Shut, the end of Europa, because he knew it. He's telling us in the movie that Europe is coming down. That's why they eliminated 23 minutes out of that movie. That the Freemasons, the egalitarian, fraternitarian, fraternalis, saturnalis removed Europe. The eyes are shut. Right. Usually the oracle needs to open up the eyes. When the eyes are shut, the oracle is dead. So she's not there anymore. And so why the Scythians? So there is a tribe to where we have today's Mongolia, a little bit west of Mongolia. There was a tribe back then that was called the Masagati or Masagati. And the Masagati, they were sun worshippers. And they were the first to kind of, worship the sun, practice human sacrifice. They were riding on horses. And they also believed that, and this kind of spread out also to Upper India in part, that when somebody of their tribe who was strong died and he was not suffering any illness, he needed to be eaten up. So they practiced after post-mortem cannibalism in order to absorb the strength of the people that died. When people were dying of illness, they would bury them in the ground. So the earth could, digest and detoxify the illness out of the spirit. And so that spirit would be reproposed in a healthy way. But everybody who died healthy or on the battlefield, for what it's worth, would be eaten by these tribes. And the Masagati, that's right, COACHMC based, learning a lot here. Kubrick was always using these occult symbols to communicate to those eyes. Yes, absolutely. No, I mean, we could. I mean, Dragon Slayer and I think we could do a whole episode just in the moon landing and Kubrick and all that. What's going on?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yes. And so what we see here is that this Masagati tribe was by Procopius, who was an historian who lived in the Byzantine Empire in the 6th century. He calls them Huns. So the idea that there is a tribe that is called the Huns is actually coming out of the Byzantine Empire, and they were associated with the Masagatis, the sun worshipper with the blonde hair, with the blue eyes, the tall features. They were already back then 6'6", 6'7". These mummies that we found of the Masagati close to China are enormously big for kind of a down condensed body. So they could have been even 7 feet tall, these people. And
yes, descendants of the so-called old bloodline, as they like to say. Yes. That just segregated themselves unless somebody asked them to kill someone. Yes, the cannibal. Yes, the cannibal giants of all myths. There's always stories like in many
the
records
giants
of,
eating, right? Giants
Yeah.
eating flesh. This is
But
where we got this from, probably.
in Japan, Korea, and China, there are many stories of literally a imperial government or some local warlord hiring mercenaries that live in mountain regions
Yes.
that are of a tribe of people that are unusually tall and strong.
Yes.
In order to just destroy shit.
Absolutely. Mongol or Mogul doesn't mean it has nothing to do with the population itself. It means territory of power or person of power. So everybody could be a Christ and everybody could be a Mongol. It has nothing to do with a certain ethnic derivation or anything. But a Han in itself, and that's interesting. Warrior jerky. Yes, warrior jerky. Let's do it.
Yeah. Oh
A
god.
Han
We are drifting a
was-
line here with you
Yeah, a
two.
little bit. We have another Roman historian, Amanias Marcellus, in the 4th century. He said a Han is somebody who was also identified as an Alan or an Alani, which is nothing else than Persian dialect for Aryan. Again, Aryan coming back to the Aryan, Indo-European, and Indo-German races that traveled to the Caucasus and were residing there, the noble people. So the Aryans are the Alans. I know it's sometimes a bit confusing because we're talking about many languages. And so when we compare these different languages, let's say Byzantine language, which was not really Latin, and then we have Latin, and then we have Indo-German languages. When we compare them, sometimes the names result differently. But if we kind of, observe and research the root, we always get back to the same common denominator. And so it looks like
I always remember the term, Coach. I always remember the term because my name's in it. A Ryan. Why don't we call them A Ryan?
Yeah, Ryan. Where do you remember? You kind of recognize this symbol here, right? This nice guy. I mean, this guy is on your flag. It's the Ryan. It's the Orion. Orion. It's the noble man, right? It's the noble dragon. It's one of those
with a
sky
nose
gods.
that big. No great thing. No great noble thing has a nose that big. Damn.
It's
bird.
a dignified nose. What do you mean?
You got a pretty pronounced nose.
I have
as
no
well.
idea what you're talking about. I don't have a big nose. Moving on.
So we have this reoccurring theme throughout history that connects us with these horse riders, these Hebrews, the horse riders that came from the eastern territories and kind of melted with the Scythians, the Assyrians, Scythian. It's basically the same thing in the end, and then kind of drifted down to the south or migrated towards the west. And if you look into the Polish aristocracy, they all claim that they are descendants of Scythians, right? Most of the Polish noblemen, aristocrats claim they are Scythians in the sense. So the Japhetic Caucasians migrated to Western Europe, where they settled in also Ukraine and today's Ukraine and Poland, and also went into the German territory because we have the Sube or the Sabi or the Swabi, right? The Swabis, the Sube became later on the first kings of Sweden, and the Swabians, they stayed in southern Germany and became the Swabian kingdom. That's why we have New Swabian or High Swabian, right? And everything connected also to Antarctica. And they are also claiming that they were descendants of the Scythians. And of course, they were using the holy symbols of the Scythians. That's why when the German Nazi party kind of started their expeditions around the world, they were all welcomed very warmly by every country that they visited because they were showing the holy symbols of the Scythians, of the Kafkas, right? The Gamadion or the Tetraskelion or the four serpents of the sky.
Which are the four cardinal directions.
Which are the four cardinal? Yes,
yeah,
of
the
course.
Four cardinal directions that cross each other and then interconnect at the center to form a unified grid of basically the planet's electromagnetic field, which is funny enough
Yes.
because like it's sort of like a way to reflect. It's like a way to show something that we already have, which is that, I mean, let's be honest, our bodies literally, if you stretch them out, they also face the 4 cardinal directions. So
Yes, absolutely.
it was a way to reflect what was within, but in a more outer perspective. You know, it's like the concept of, you know, what was the quote again? As above, so is below, or something like that.
Yes.
God, correct me. I can't remember the quote right off the bat. But
No, as above, so below. Yes,
yeah,
absolutely.
So it sort of gets all connected in a way. So it's no surprise that those, especially of European royal families, when they saw these the Nazis originally come with those symbols to do the expeditions, it was absolutely no surprise they let them in, because they're like, oh, so and we have goals. But then on the background, they're like, no, yeah, we have the same goal, but we're going to use it to destroy you.
Yes.
Nobody
Hey,
Yeah.
folks, if you're enjoying today's show, please like, share,
Definitely.
and subscribe, because especially for new viewers, their first image of 3 Caucasian gentlemen looking
True.
at a fidget spinner, I think that's going to bring many, many fine people together.
Yes.
Yes.
YouTube also, please do not let your
No.
algorithm have an aneurysm, because I
Right.
don't want it. I don't want this damn thing
It
showing.
has had an aneurysm, Dragon. I've gained
I
like
know.
56 fucking subscribers. Hell has frozen over
Oh no!
in a
Yeah, it's
day.
pretty weird.
That's fucking mental.
Also, to
next
kind
up
of
is-
set the record straight for all these
Yeah.
historians that are talking in American and all TV shows right now about the Ukrainian war and about the fascists in the Ukraine, and there was like this good intent of cleaning it. Like, it has nothing to do with fascism. Here, I show you a picture. This is a very, very old picture. The Ukrainian people were even adopting the swastika, the gammadion, or the tetraskelion on their currency in 1917. And it had nothing to do with fascism, of course, because there was no rise of the fascist empire back then.
Yeah.
It had everything to do with the holy symbol of the Scythians and the Indo-German, Indo-European, and Indo-Aryan races and cultures that were part of the fabric of the culture of the Ukraine.
I mean, coach, look, if we really think about it, okay, if you just simply unbend the bended corners of the swastika, you get a fucking cross.
Yes,
Think about
it's
that.
yes,
It's literally
yeah.
the cross, the cross and the swastika in their original meanings were meant to represent that. But unfortunately,
Yes.
a bunch of assholes who were hungry with power fucking hijacked it. And now, one of those
everything can be everything can be polarized. We know that, right? So good power can be polarized into negative power, and you can whether it's like Monsters Inc., right? You can harness laughter or you can harness screams and tears, right? So you can choose where to go with this power. And this is the thing, like there is a certain power about, these constellations and the occult meanings and what you can derive from them. And then it's about you, how you want to use it. Let's not forget the Bengai moon set in Japan that killed a bunch of people in the subway. He was hailed by the Dalai Lama, the chief of this cult sect, right? No, he's trying to wake people up. He's just trying to purify. He's just a friend that's a bit misled and is a bit confused, but he has nothing bad in his, right? So it always depends how you want to see, how you want to polarize the symbol, the power, how you want to use it. There's always good and there's always, evil potential, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
As I
that's
said,
the unfortunate.
it's a very good fidget spinner. They should sell them.
Very effective fidget spinner. Yes, you were absolutely correct. It's the kind of fidget spinner that starts street fights or genocides.
We'll make a
either or.
chainsaw out of it.
Street fights or genocides, I like that.
Yeah. Oh yes, Tartaria.
Like Texas Chainsaw Massacre would look a lot better.
Thank you, John. Thank you,
Whoever
John. I'm just
drew-
putting the...
Whoever drew this map needs shooting.
So we have Tartaria, and we know that the grand unified architecture concept that we find around the world is a Tartarian architecture. But as a matter of fact, Tartaria is also be considered part of the Scythia Empire, and so Tartaria in itself, the mystery of Tartaria is that there is a king and there is a ruler. So there is a ruler. His name is the president of the United States, let's say. But the king is, of course, money. So the real king, the real controller of the United States is not the president, it's money, right? That's the king. So the same thing can be said also when people are getting confused when they're researching this. Yeah, but the name of the country is a different one than the people or this race or the culture. Yes, it's like, we can take the Jews. They are super influential, right, in the United States. It's not their country, but they're super influential. They have a lot of high power positions and all that. The same thing is true
it's a bit on the nose, Coach,
it's especially
given current
no, but it's true. I mean, we can
do go on. Here's some more rope.
And the same thing is true for Tartaria and Scythia, right? You have maybe a country that's called Tartaria, but the actual rulers, the people that are controlling that country, that they're the Scythians. Interesting. Here, the Caucasus also gets depicted, and here, do you see these stone entrances in the mountains?
Oh yeah.
And we have them. We found them, right? Many believe that, oh no, these are just, some fancy depictions. They believe that the mountains somehow were metaphorically a portal, a gate, or anything. But no, of course, if you go to the kingdom of Lydia or Thracia, Dacia, everything in Turkey and Armenia, we find those, and also in Saudi Arabia, in Jordan. I mean, we find those portals in stone in the mountain, huge portals that seem to go nowhere, apparently, tangibly, low vibrationally seem to go nowhere. But the ancient people believed that they actually would, right? These are the entrances to so-called Shambhala, Agartha, and there are many, many expeditions that even the American Institute of, funny enough, Agriculture sponsored with Nicholas Roerich in that mountainous region here in the Caucasus. Oh, yeah. And they wanted to find their claim was that one of their claims was that they would find the entrance to Agartha and would bring back the crown of the prince of the underworld. That's true. This is really what they said.
No, he's not lying, guys. That this was a genuine expedition funded by really wealthy and powerful people and governments that actually wanted to know if it was real and if they could harness that said technology, because they thought that maybe there's something in there that we can use and essentially weaponize. And of course, at the end of their journey, they did find it, but all that happened is they were basically told by a monk guarding the gate, don't try, because you will literally die because you can't.
How do you weaponize a crown?
No, not the crown. That was one thing they were looking for. They thought that there could be, that was the excuse. They thought there could be potential technology that they could steal as
it is believed that the crown was powered by a very powerful green stone, right? We have this idea of the green stone again. And what was the name of this? The Mikihati, a very weird name.
The prince of the underworld.
The underworld.
Prince of the Underworld.
No. He had a very weird name, and they were looking for the stone in the crown, and allegedly Nicholas found it. And now here it gets really crazy. That stone that Nicholas found, and we have Nicholas Roerich. Maybe can you get a picture of Nicholas Roerich dragon?
I can look it up.
He's always depicted with this box, and he was claiming until his death that in this box there was the stone of the crown of the prince of the underworld, and that stone later was transferred into a time capsule, and around that time capsule the United Nations building was built.
Yeah, I mean, it's no surprise when you... Oh, sorry, that's how his name is spelled. Okay, there we go. I was right. Okay, let me pull it up. Okay, share screen. All right. So this is how. Not sure what that German viewer said, but glad to have you, buddy.
Of course.
Coach and translate to for us someday. But yeah. So this is his. This is
The
the man
Manalashi,
himself.
I think that was the name. The Manalishi. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a
Something like
similar-
that.
Yeah,
I have to look it up because I
Hey,
don't.
that's really good, Dungeon Master
Dragon.
Blaster. Really good.
What's up?
Dragon,
really
before you get into this
Yes.
page, could you say the name of the place this guy died?
Uh,
You know, right there.
no,
Dominion?
no, Ryan. I
Yeah.
will not fall into the fucking trap. I
Come
will not fall
on.
in the trap.
Telling me you can't pronounce words?
No, I can,
Come on,
but
you
I
can
know
say
how
it.
YouTube will interpret it. I don't want.
It's right on the
Coach's
far
opinion.
right next to the Dominion of India. On the far right.
Oh, my-
Manalishi.
Come on.
oh Jesus! fucking
I mean,
Christ.
Fleetwood Mac and Judas Priest. If you research those bands, it's very interesting, the connections. So they, wait.
Oh my God!
He had a very maybe that's the
What's that? Oh,
Nah.
the But yes, this is Nicholas Rourke. Everyone. Ironically enough, he died 2 years after World War II ended. At least the war in Europe. Yes, the war in the East, I think, lasted for a few more years. But yeah,
Months,
this guy
Dragon.
months.
Moron.
Oh no,
You're
you
a fucking moron.
what the fuck? Hey, quiet now.
Please
I don't-
continue, Dragon.
Oh my God.
Few years.
Bro, I don't even remember what happened after.
Hey,
To
can
me,
you, can
like,
you say can you say the place he died from, Dragon?
no, Ryan,
could
I will
use
not fall for
another
your
laugh,
tricks.
Dragon.
I will not fall for your tricks, sir. Okay. Oh no, yeah,
Oh my.
he was just somebody that was very interested in the occult, and of course,
yes, you could say that. No.
yeah, ironically he was also a painter, and so as a man of the arts himself, he caught the eye of many people, and he wanted to do this kind of expedition for
Mhm.
multiple years. Like, he was trying, and then one day he got the financing that he needed, and off he went. I think he tried to do it another time, but
Yeah,
nothing
several
came
times.
of it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right,
but
right.
nothing could happen because of the war-torn environment.
But
that
if
was
you
occurring.
he was very often depicted like with this box, right? There are many like pictures of
I can
him
look
and,
for it. Yeah.
yeah.
Let me try to look for it.
and there is this very interesting story that then later on, when the United Nations building was erected, that there is a meditation room. Funny enough, it's on the 33rd floor, and they say out of this non-congreal, it's like an open room to everybody. Out of this meditation belief room, there is like a one stone pillar that goes directly down into the basement of United Nations building, and somehow that stone pillar is connected to this time capsule where allegedly the stone of the crown of Manalishi is in there, that Nicholas Rourke found in the underworld in Agartha, allegedly. And he also searched in the Caucasus region, of course. Manalishi, isn't that also the goddess of the? Isn't that the goddess of the Starbucks logo, of the first Starbucks logo? I'm not quite sure, but I think that's the. Let me take a look here, because I'm taking it.
Sure.
Let me. Where is my drawing?
Loading.
Melusine. That's Melusine. So Hercules, it has been believed that the Scythians are also descendants of a marriage of Melusine and Hercules. And if you look up Melusine, she is the sea beast, right? She's the beast from the sea that is marrying or is, crossbreeding with the sky god Hercules. And one of their sons, Targeteus, right? He is one of those ancestors, gods, sky gods of the Scythian pantheon, and it's believed there are many stories that are connecting Hercules also with the Caucasus. If you think of Prometheus, right, and other people that were chained to the Caucasus because they gave fire, they gave nobility, like the Aryans, to humankind, and Zeus, the Odin, right, the overlord, the king of the gods, was against giving fire, illumination, and reason to the human population, and that's why he chained Prometheus to the Caucasus. So there are many interesting, also in Greek mythology, threads about human creation and the creation of that new culture. And funny enough, we have coincidentally, by the end of the Bronze Age, exactly what Greek mythology is telling us, this new offspring conquering all these lands around the Caucasus and invading the lands, the Hittites, they are all connected to these tribes.
You mean the Hittites?
The Hittites, exactly.
Yeah, not Hittites.
Melusine. Yes,
Why did you
so-
correct him? I wanted him to say hitties and titties.
Where's Nicholas Roerich? Where
God,
did he
no.
die? Well, Nicholas Roerich died in where?
1947.
That's a good pause.
Yeah,
the X and R
definitely.
zero.
Yeah.
Pause.
Oh, by the way, I found the picture you were asking
Yeah.
for. Let me share it real quick. So yeah, this is the. Now I remember what you were talking about. So yeah, this is the picture of Nicholas Roerich. I believe this is what you were asking about.
Yes,
With the
yes.
box.
Yeah, very often depicted with the box.
Yep. There's also another one where he is depicted just sitting with a book. Actually, I do not know why Google does not. There we go. This also
Yes.
this one. But yeah, those are commonly used pictures of him.
These are all his paintings. He
yeah.
was a pretty good painter. And guys, he is also the illustrator of the $1 bill and the creator of the seal of the United States. And of course, he also designed the pyramid, right? Novus Ordo Seclorum. So it's a very interesting figure that, again, is also connected. Look at this mountainous region there that he drew. He's also connected to the saga of the Scythians, and and he was actively looking in that region for clues and answers that he allegedly also found.
Yeah, and let's make it clear, everyone. This man was genuinely funded by Bolsheviks. Just don't forget that, okay?
Yes.
He was funded by the Bolsheviks with the first expedition.
And it's incredible. I don't know if we can just find it like immediately, but I know it as a fact. There is a building, like a huge, like a skyscraper, that's called the Master Building in New York City, that was built in his honor by the Audi family, by the German Sonar family, that is also linked to the car company. That very interesting fact as well. The Master Building. Also, if you look at the logo of the Master Building, and he is also the creator of hot yoga, Nicholas Roerich. He transcendental meditation, David Lynch is talking about. And David Lynch, he wants to find the masters in the underworld, exactly like Nicholas Roerich. And the masters of the underworld, or king of the underworld, that is also the connection that the Aryans claim to have, right? Because they say the Scythians are descending from one sky god and from one sea god, but the sea god, the sea beast, once lived in the inner world and then came out when the flood came in. And after the flood dried down, she then became a part of the land of terra firma, because she couldn't find the entrance to the old empire, to the old kingdom, the inner kingdom anymore, because of the pole shift, probably.
Oh,
dang, that sucks, bro.
Yeah, it's a huge connection. I told you, this is like one of the greatest shows so far in terms of the knowledge arc that we're trying to span here. It's pretty crazy.
it's a shame though he died in India as it was, falling to bits. In that place, Dragon wouldn't say, but change one
Definitely
word.
not.
Very, very controversial word.
Say it.
But yeah.
Definitely
people do
not.
nag. They do nag a lot, especially in the
Here,
Definitely, yeah.
here we have the beautiful Mussolini, or Mussolini.
Mussolini? You mean?
Yes, this is the beast
Oh,
from
you
the
mean
sea.
Medusa. Oh, okay. Oh, the Naga. Is this a Naga or Medusa?
This is sort of what we have in India as a Naga, but this is the famous the creature that we have on the first Starbucks logo. It's
I like the dude holding
Melusine.
the cup behind it. You know, it's
Yeah,
like,
it's just
yeah, you know,
yeah,
just
it's
chilling
like
here.
Does this
and
not
this is-
break YouTube's nudity rules, Coach?
No,
It's a
no, because
statue, I
it's a
think we're fine.
hermaphrodite. It's a hermaphrodite, as we know from the mythology. As you can see, is we have like a man face, a woman body. This is a hermaphrodite. This is also
Oh, tranny.
it's a tranny. It's your favorite word.
No, he likes to
wonder,
add
is it a
demon in front of it. Normally,
And-
some are, yes.
So coming back to us, this tribe then, these new noblemen, and this is the same thing. Like, why are they called noble? It's the same reason why barbarians are called barbarians, right? Just give them another name, give them another label, so people won't perceive them as what they are. Because let's not forget, these people here, they practice human sacrifice, cannibalism. They worship the sun. They started monotheism, right? These are the Hyksos pharaohs, the Heribus. Heribu later became Hebrew, and it just means people on horses. It means they came from these horse tribes that descended from the Caucasus into the Egyptian region. And under the Hyksos Empire, under the Hyksos reign, we have Akhenaten with his monotheism, and we have all the traditional sun worship emblems and regalia popping up exactly in that period, right? They, of course, also are connected to the princess Scotia. Scotia being the princess that then is connected to the Scottish Empire, and she was one of the daughters of Akhenaten, sure enough. And they were also called the Shepherd Kings. This is why Jesus later on is the shepherd, or is the king of shepherd, because it's connected to the Hyksos, to the Heribus, to the guys that were always traveling and reigning throughout every land that they were traveling through without being on the flag. So, like I said, who's the king and who's the ruler? The Hypatos, they were called by the Greeks, the Hyksos, they were Hypatos for the Greeks, and it is said that they are connected also to Helen of Troy. And of course, here we have the connection with the Turks and the Armenian and the Armenites that are descendants also from the Caucasus that are, creating the Ashkenazi. Now, the Ashkenaz is the son of Gomer, who was then the father of Japhet. Who is then the son of Japhet, right? And so Japhet, again, he is the son of Noah. Where did Noah land? Exactly, Mount Ararat. Again, it's the Caucasus. Somehow it revolves like the sundial, like the swastika. These people revolve around that mythological mountain range that connected Asia to Europe, to the southern, parts of Asia Minor and the oriental part of Asia as well. So it's very, very fascinating.
So, in short, what you're saying is, in the dead center of, well, I guess what people will call the old world, obviously there are these tribes that are descended from these four mythical sons of Noah, and
Yes.
that each one of them, as they went in their separate directions, just established separate tribes and then split off into smaller splinter groups that then created various cultures, some more advanced than others, but because they had a shared common knowledge, their symbology was very similar, almost exact, depending on the region that they were
Exactly.
from. And as a result of that, as the millennia go by, we can still recognize them, and as they were recognized in the past by, at that point, those
Yes.
who were given basically restricted knowledge on it. But nowadays, since we are in the age of information, things are more openly available for the common man to have access to it, but most don't research it because, just like in ancient times, ignorance is bliss, while
Yes.
wisdom is eternal. But that's just me.
It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true, and that explains the fair-skinned mummies in China also in Japan, let's not forget, if you look into the history of the first samurais, they were they were depicted as tall people with fair skin. The same thing is true for New Zealand, right? The people that the New Zealand describes as they're like the ones who kind of created all these Moyan bloodlines. They were coming from the sea, and they had red hair and blue eyes or green eyes, like Berbers, like Scythians, exactly. And this is why you have Afghani people with blue eyes. This is why you have Persian people with blue eyes. This is why you have you have Indian people with blue eyes. This is why you have Ashkenazi, Jewish people with blue eyes, right? Or people living like citizens of Israel with blue eyes. This is exactly where that idea is coming from, that there is one connection to one single common denominator.
Yeah, I mean,
Bring
I find it
everyone
very
together.
yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, it's just a way of signifying that we are much more closely connected than we expected, and a root explanation of the first
I was also
half of my
I was
name.
also being. Sorry, Dragon. I was just going to say I was being as polite as possible in my last comment. If it's not male or female, it's not human. Whatever the fuck a hermaphrodite is, I'm amazed Daxonar can spell that. Especially if he's an American. But still,
Oh my god.
carry on.
No, well, yeah, it's more. Yeah, no. Some of the hermaphrodites supposedly have both female and male genitalia. But
It's a combination of Hermes, of Thoth, and of Aphrodites, which is Isis.
Yeah, it's basically like it was used in ancient times as a way to signify the fact that like female and male energies will always be together, like they'll always attract each other no matter what.
Mhm.
So basically explaining what we already know, which is man plus woman equals balance. If you don't have that, we are fucked.
Yes.
That's me dumbing it down.
No, absolutely.
Well, I was
and also
reading
in
this,
sacred.
Yeah.
No, please
Go
go
on.
ahead. No, please.
Well, I was just going to say, while you were speaking, Dragon, I was having a look through this definition of dragon, and apparently that makes you a fish and a snake and
a lot of
Jewish
different
sea monster. So you're not a good person.
Apparently not. I guess just
I
ancient
can't
people. I
imagine
wouldn't
it.
be.
He hangs out with us. How is he supposed to be a good person?
You know what's crazy? That's the current modern definition, and you can even see that they're making it clear. Like the original definition came from the mid 13th century. That's literally the first word here. Like the modern definition of what we think of as dragons. But if you go further back in ancient cultures, especially the ancient Sumerians, like the god Enki, who originally taught human beings like advanced knowledge, sort of like in the book of the fucking hell, what's his name? I forget. Why did I forget his name all of a sudden? The book where the fucking Nephilim Todd, remind me the name of the fucking book.
The 12th planet, you mean?
No. The
from Sitchin, you mean? No, but what do you mean?
No.
It's very funny. Americans
biblical
can't remember a book.
Genesis. That's Genesis.
No.
Book
The name of
is
the
it
name of the biblical ancestor. One of them. I fucking hold on. Look.
The Nephilim.
Yeah, I'll remember it in a moment. But the whole point I'm trying to get at is that there are many records in ancient cultures where these serpent-like beings or beings that had influence with serpent-like beings or drew upon the primordial serpent energies of the earth, whatever you want to call it.
The demiurges, you mean?
Yes, some people call them demiurges. No, and the demiurges, Nephilim, gods, Anunnaki, whatever you want to call them. There were the description of Enki in the ancient past. He was mostly portrayed as this serpent-like being, actually.
Yes, absolutely.
Almost like a lizard man from Dungeons and Dragons, if you want to just with ceremonial god-like clothing, and I think Ryan's internet went out.
That's normal in Wales.
Yeah, and I just want to mention that in the ancient past, the serpent or serpent teachings were considered to be more of like roots of wisdom and honor and courage and that sort of thing. Not the negative connotation came way much later when the Catholic Church was established, as they were trying to demonize every ancient concept that was related to symbols like the swastika, or the ancient symbol of swastika, mind you. Okay, because I got to clarify this. True. And the Pathfinder symbol, the 4 cardinal signs, anything, the original definition of serpent energies, that sort of thing. This was all heavily suppressed, and heck, people could easily die of it. That's why the Templars, and this is historical record, we have documents to prove this shit. That's why the Templars hid a bunch of stuff in parts of the old world, but especially in the new world. There's been a lot of archaeological discoveries where it's been shown that the Templars actually may have been, along with the Vikings, some of the earliest European discoverers of the New World. It's just that they kept it secret because they wanted.
Absolutely. Yeah. No. Just to cling on, this is really important. What is the name of a Viking boat? What's the name of the Viking boat?
A longboat. Yeah.
Yeah, but how did the Vikings call the boats?
Man, gotta remember that.
Dragon boats.
Oh yeah, dragon boat.
So they themselves, they called them dragon boats.
Yeah, you're correct.
And they used the old Scythian codes, the Suba codes, right? That's why we have those languages and on stones and engravings, also engravings we find them in Canada and in Northern America where they shouldn't be, right? And layers of geology where it's actually too old to be there, right? Mm-hmm. And so the dragon boat is coming back to the idea of commerce. The Scythians, and we talked about this last episode, how important commerce is also to develop culture of languages and everything. And we had the connection of the Phoenicians also last time, and of course these people also kind of intermingle with the Phoenicians. And the Phoenicians allegedly they built the fastest boats. And
I do apologize. My primary signal cut out. I'm using the secondary one now, so I'll have to pull a dragon slayer. But please, gentlemen, continue.
What?
Dragon for these people was a metaphor also for the culture that they were presenting, the old culture of knowledge and trade. So Vikings weren't, of course, just brutes or just vandalizing barbarians. Again, this is how we love to picture them, to keep them small, to not research and investigate. Because if we find out that they were great traders, that they were establishing trade routes, that they were great in commerce, that they were using Scythian symbolism and languages, and were also kind of working alongside other cultures, then probably the idea of sailing to another continent to kind of make profit out of the the new products that you can get there would make sense. So we don't want that connection to happen. So we have to paint them as dumb, just sexual oriented, almost cannibalistic, kind of wild barbarians that are just kind of raping girls, having feasts, drinking beer, and sleeping.
Yeah, I mean, but
which is a great
I go for like 5 minutes, and Coach is already embodying the reality-based mindset.
No, but it's
No, sure. I do want to mention, like with Vikings, it is very interesting you mentioned that because I mean, let's be honest here, they were both of those things. But then, if we really break it down into further context, you would see that the ones that were usually very violent were a specific group of people, while most of them were just trying to survive and get along. But unfortunately, reality for a Viking or someone from the Scandinavian regions, if I can be more specific, life was basically hardship all the time, unless you invaded some place, and got some loot out of it. And that's just an unfortunate reality. But most of them, if it was possible, they were very intelligent individuals that were in positions of leadership or that could influence leaders into looking at other alternatives that were not always violent, because Vikings, just like any other fucking human beings, could be smart enough and had enough common sense to know, okay, maybe not, don't mess with this guy or these people because it's not going to work out well.
Yes.
Maybe don't kidnap their girls, and maybe do a trade where, oh, you know, how about you give us slaves for goods? You know, it's not like these cultures were innocent either, as you know.
No, of course not.
Them.
Like
they literally would do regular slave trades, so it wasn't irregular for trading of slaves for goods to be done, especially to Vikings, because let me be honest, if you were a trader from an agrarian civilization, you would probably have a field day with people like Vikings if you knew how to properly manipulate them and give them a shitty deal.
Yes.
But so no wonder they were always fucking angry. But I did want to mention the story of the Nephilim, as I was mentioning earlier. That's from the Book of Enoch. Apologies. I usually have it. I usually have it in my head, but like sometimes it just escapes me, and I have to like look it up and then remember it immediately.
You have a lot of knowledge in your head. We excuse sometimes that some of that stuff gets stored in the wrong drawer.
Oh, and fun fact, you were talking about giant, like, you know, tall white individuals in like Far Eastern cultures, especially in the mummies that were found. There is actually a legend that one of the kings of one of Korea's many kingdoms that came and fell was a very tall man that had a very mighty bow that only he could draw because it was such a massive bow.
Yes.
And there is this legend that that when an emperor of China, of a unified China, you know, of the many different iterations, tried to invade Korea, he somehow got a hold of the bow, but not even he or anyone in his army could pull the damn thing because it was just so huge. You know, you need to be a very tall, strong person.
And they found in Japan, cyclopean bows and swords, and there is no explanation. Like cyclopean in dimensions, absolutely gigantic. That only giants. It would only make sense to giants, not even to forge that thing. Like only for giants to really, whether to forge it or to swing it and to hold it. Then they, of course, claim, it's now for ritualistic reason. They just hang it on the wall. It's just to represent the Ur, you know, gods. But it's you know, it's a very thin, thin argument because it looks like these swords were used, right? They look like they were used in battle. And so, who would use a sword that is made for a giant? A giant.
Yeah, you know,
Pretty easy.
just like a sword, just like a copper sword. No, sorry, just like a bronze sword that never lost its sharpness, even though it was buried for millennia. Yeah. Somebody tell me, oh yeah, a bunch of brutes our ancestors were, you know? Yeah, sure, buddy. Right, sorry. Go on ahead, sir.
No. We saw what Darius was saying, that he is a descendant of the Persians, right? And we talked about the Mithraic cult and the Perseus connection, how it connects also to Minoan culture, and then later on how it influenced worldwide. And so again, we have a ruler and we have a king. You know, this Mithraic cult that we illustrated last time sort of is everywhere on every flag, right? But there is no face. It's just a Phrygian cap that represents the Mithraic cult in every nation, basically in every heavy nation. The same thing is here true again. We have this word, the Aryan, the noble ones, the Scythians. We have Saka or Suri, or always these reoccurring themes of these old gods, always with new labels, but somehow popping up in all these other cultures. Again, we have them in Persia. We have them also here in India, right? The Rig Veda describes an Aryan gods as blondes. With him too, it is this rain of this that comes like herds. Indra throws drops of moisture on his yellow beard. When the sweet juice is sheet, he seeks the pleasant place and steers the worshipper as wind disturbs the wood. At the swift draught, the summer drinker waxed and might the iron one with yellow beard and yellow hair. He, Lord of Tawny, Corsairus, Lord of Fleetfoot Maris, will bear his base deeds safely over all distress. a lord of all men, fair of cheek, rejoice thee in the gladdening lords, present all these drink offerings. They're always talking about the same people, guys. In Persia, in India, when they're
They're
talking
everywhere, you know.
everywhere.
Like people don't seem to understand, but like these days it might be a little bit different because we're all so connected. But there's been evidence that goes back thousands of years, even in current, establishment history, that shows that there were fair-skinned people that wandered all over the place. Okay, it's not just it wasn't just Europe. Okay, it wasn't just Europe. They were spread out all over the place, and at that point, all you can think of is, okay, well, at a certain point, these groups were put in existed in these certain places, or were put there, and then as time went on, and human beings, as humans we explore. Eventually, these groups came in contact with each other, and you know how it happens that when interbreeding happens, there is a reason why there are people that are, say, from countries where they're predominantly brown skinned, but they somehow have blue or green eyes, which is something that, yes, rest in peace, giant ladies, we will miss you. But yeah, I just find it very fascinating because it just shows that our genetic diversity is quite strong.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's quite crazy how this is all. And if you research Churchill, when Churchill was talking about Germans, he was referring to them back then in British dialect. You could also say to a German, you could say he's a Hun. So they were saying a Hun, someone who is, out of the far eastern region of Russia, who Massageti and later on a Scythian, who we would describe in mainstream media to sell movies as Mongol, right? But a Hun was someone who was exceptionally tall, who had muscles, fair skin, fair hair, and blue eyes. That was a Hun. Oh my God!
Oh, yeah.
So it seems like Ryan Roger Athey. Oh my God, he has.
Oh boy,
he has trouble. He's a troublemaker, and he has trouble, and it seems like there's like primary signal not working. Something is really wrong with his internet, or maybe they're assaulting his little cardboard house in Wales because he's kind of transmitting the truth, and they're taking him away now. And so I hope he can be rejoining us very soon.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Mongolians.
Yes.
Good one. But yeah, no, the Huns. It's kind of interesting because you have accounts that describe the Huns as being very tall, and then others that describe them as being very short. Unfortunately, we have to ask ourselves these questions. Okay, well, who was the one that called them tall, and who was the one that called them short? Were these people that called them short tall themselves than the average Hun? Or were the people that describe them as tall very short? Because you have to understand, back in the ancient times, human beings were not as tall as, on average, as we are now. The reason our average height has increased anyway is due to the fact that, well, most human beings could get good basic nutrition. Okay. And the genetic mixing of everyone also heavily influences that, which is something that in ancient times was not so prevalent. So as a result, we now have like more genetic diversity, so to speak, where you see more tall people in this current day and age than you did thousands of years ago. And I just want to say, Ryan, it's unfortunate that your internet connection decided to secede from the union of your router, but I will say this: hopefully, the main router prevails, and we love you and appreciate you, bro. Just want to let you know that.
We love him
Yeah.
dearly. Without him,
Yes.
it's always a bit sadder and a bit more. There's something missing. The bigotry, the racism. It's just that beautiful combination, right? The cardboard, his
The
charm,
polarization. Yeah, it's
the polarization. Yeah.
it's like a drug you can't get rid of. It's like it's bad, but whatever. You deal with it.
In old maps, we even find Scythopolis, right? Very close to Nazareth and north of Jerusalem. And we have also the town of Philadelphia, right? We have here Scythopolis. So there was a town, and we know that there is a huge concentration of, genetic anomalies in terms of a lot of blue-eyed, fair-haired people that shouldn't be in that area, quote unquote, shouldn't be. You know what I mean by that, right? So it's kind of this. There is this cultural anomaly of these people popping up where there shouldn't be. But if you look at this from the development, not out of Africa, but out of or down from Caucasus rather, then this whole narrative makes way more sense also on how the distribution worked of these, of these different entities that all bore the same idea, that there was the serpent in the sky, right? The four constellations that would never cease to give light and navigation to humankind. The four cardinal days, the four cardinal stars, also the four major gospels, of course, right? And the four constellations are these four evangelic prophets, right? That's why when you go into a Catholic church sometimes you see that in an old one that is built originally, you see that the council where the priest is talking down from, sometimes it is adorned by four figures. You have an angel, you have a bull, you have a lion, and you have an eagle. And these are the four constellations of the Scythians. We have Regulus, we have Leo, we have Taurus, and we have Antares, right? These are the four constellations that will never cease to exist because they are always in the sky. They're surrounding the pole star, the northern star, and therefore they will never be under the horizon, especially in the Caucasus region. Yes.
And it's also a great way to represent the constellations. I know, we're sorry.
Yeah,
it's okay. Look, Daxonar.
Right.
Daxonar, don't worry. I'm about to pull something crazy, but before I do that, I do want to talk some seriousness here, because I find it interesting that all these symbols, they always point to like these four cardinal zodiac constellations, so to speak, and at the end of the day, they represent, if you will, a cycle of previous ages, if you will. And they also represent traits that can be reflected in humanity.
Yes.
The angel stands for divinity, the bull for virility and strength, lion for courage, and fearlessness. Sorry, courage and valor, I should say.
Yeah, it's the serpent bearer, actually.
Yeah,
it's not the
serpent bearer. Yeah, but no, we're gonna get to that. And the eagle does represent wisdom because of openness. And I do want to make it now for the craziness. Ironically, Philadelphia in the map you showed earlier.
Right.
I forgot about this. Yeah, Philadelphia, the name literally means city of brotherly love. And it's ironic that its American equivalent has one of the highest crime rates in the country. So I just wanted to say that, to give you an idea.
I'm not so surprised, because if you think of the concept, right, of the brotherly love, everybody needs to be excluded of the fraternity who's not complying to the rules, who's not pledging his true loyalty. So this is what happens very quickly to the brother who doesn't obey.
And it's like, in terms of crime rates, we're talking like 54 crimes per 1,000 residents, and there's a chance of one of those becoming basically a violent or property crime. There you go. That was just me saying random shit.
Right,
go on.
No. It's funny that you're creating this connection, because it's a forced brotherhood, and all these forced brotherhoods, all these lies, right? If you have at the origin of your brotherhood creation, if you have a lie, right? This thing will go into the wrong direction for sure, right?
Oh
If
yeah, of
you
course.
And so therefore, the problem is that they're not telling us the truth about our past. So they're lying. So they need to make up more lies to cover up the old lies. And when something new is being uncovered, they have to correct the lies. And so this, of course, at a certain point, it's like in Flight Plan, the movie with Denzel Washington. Somehow you explode then, right? You realize you have told too many lies. You have to kind of stop doing that. You can't bear it anymore. And a society that is based on lies, of course, kind of bears also these contradictions. They never can come clean. Psychologically, there will be always, dark remainings, kind of, nurturing some fear, uncertainty, and doubt into other races, ethical principles, values of people that are coming from another country. So you are creating very much the division by starting any sort of religion with a lie.
Yeah, and I find it interesting. Dungeon Master did mention something, and that is, yes, there is. You're right. There is a 13th zodiacal sign.
Right.
It's called Ophiuchus, the serpent bearer, basically. Yeah.
Yes.
And yes, that is true. But the thing is, for Catholic imagery, an angel is more compelling than the constellation equivalent of Michael killing the serpent, because then people are like, well, if this guy bears the serpent, why is this dude killing it? And that would be, then the question would be, okay, so you basically are saying y'all are destroyers of ancient knowledge.
Yes.
And when originally meant to be like the custodians of knowledge, but
yes.
Also, we gave the eagle that now.
Yeah. Here we have many pyramids that are now the Chinese want to cover them up. They can't destroy all of them. Some of them are literally undestroyable, so they plant trees on top, so they will be covered over time, but you can clearly see.
Did they actually plant trees?
Yes, you can clearly see they are planted.
Buddy, like I don't care how many trees you plant.
You still
that shit
see
is
that.
popping out. That thing is popping out like a zit. Okay, that thing.
It's pretty
is
evident.
Is a freaking zit. Like if somebody stumbles on it.
All right.
Yeah.
It's clearly yes.
Yeah.
And they're doing this all over the place. But they allowed they allowed one film crew there, and these are the blonde mummies, huge, tall mummies that they're retrieving there.
Wow, it's like these Indo-European tribes, the tall ones mixed with the short ones, and somehow we got normal-sized people, and then we got ridiculously tall ones. Like I said, there's genetic variation, which would explain a lot of inconsistencies with history. Oh wait, not convenient. Bury that shit.
Let's bury that shit. Let's find an excuse. Let's say this was somehow like a prince that died there, and this is so funny. Sometimes their excuses are so entertaining, and how they kind of twist and turn in all sorts of directions in order to make somehow like a conclusive statement, but it's really not.
Dude,
it's the same thing with the exploration of space, right? Oh, we are really surprised by this unexpected data. Yes, and so we now show you how this thing landed. But it makes no sense. But it doesn't matter. Yeah, we look fancy. We say a couple of technical terms, and hey, look at this beautiful thing here.
Look at me. I'm smart.
I'm smart.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, is this another
this is original.
Asian mummy?
Yeah, that's original mummy, tattoos, blonde hair, very tall, very strong physique.
Was this one buried under very cold environment, or?
Yes, actually, this is now where we have the desert, and it used to be a very cold environment, and then it flipped with the polar shift. And at a certain point, it was dusted. It dusted out, and so they buried this person there, and you can look at this tattoo. Look how modern it looks. How perfectly it was done. Like how great this tattoo. It's an incredibly good. Like imagine the time. Look how the quality of teeth here. So this is really an amazing find. And again, this is in China.
Yeah,
tall guy, blonde with tattoos.
But the thing is like when people think of like fair skinned ones, they think like, white like you or me. But no, we're talking like people that were of more of the darker brownish
I-
skin tone of white, basically. Like it was just a berry, or it would be more
I show you the
of
complexion. It's more like orange.
orange. Yeah, it's like basically that.
Right.
Basically what people describe ancient Egyptians to be. It's just like this interesting genetic variation
Yes.
that occurs, and just certain Semitic groups just have that strain. The ancient Egyptians have
Yes.
it. There are some tribes in Asia and Northern Europe that had it, especially the ones that lived in mountains. These people did exist. What annoys me is that in this current day and age, they're like trying to throw them out and say, "Oh no, excuse me, but they were only white, black, and yellow. Oh, and we got the red people over here in the New World. Oh yeah, they were definitely no
Oh, the
fair-skinned
Reds.
people in the New World.
That's unfortunate.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what about those tombs where they uncovered people that had unusually blonde hair? Yeah, they were of the typical Native American skin tone, but they were very fucking blonde. Hell, their eyes were very, very bright. What's up with that?
Yeah, no, it's this is very interesting. This is the white crown, right? This is the white crown of Lower Egypt.
Yep.
With and this is the red crown of Higher Egypt, and these are the blue helmets, right? These are the you could say the elite force that was mercenary forces that could be hired, whether from from Upper or Lower Egypt. And today we have the blue helmets. And we have also red, white, and blue being, the main colors of pretty much all the flags that are important on this planet. So again, we have this idea that the Hyksos Empire that gave birth to the red, to the white, and to the blue crown, and then spread it out later through the Greek, the diffusion into the Roman Empire, and then, of course, also came into, to the British Empire, then was ultimately also responsible to give us the flag. And therefore, we see the Scythian ancestry and the bloodline of the serpent, right, also here, and how we got to our place where we at right now.
It's very prevalent, and guys, to get some meaning out of the colors, red usually associated with power, white with purity, and blue with knowledge or freedom. And so the idea is that by combining all three, you're basically the most powerful, wise, and pure of them all. But the thing is, if everyone claims it, then at that point, that would be saying all of us are that.
Right.
But
now
that doesn't fly, so you kind of keep that shit secret.
No, at a certain point, you need one that rules over blue, red, and white, and that is purple. And here you have all the colors of every tie of every politician. Check the tie color, and you know where this politician stands. Usually, the colors that are allowed are blue or red, and sometimes politicians they wear a purple tie. Right. And so therefore in that rank right now, that one is the commander in charge. He has the rule right now.
Yeah, I always find it very interesting because I do see this a lot with a lot of these politicians and TV show hosts. At the end of the day, like in our current world anyway, the ruler seems to be money or greed in general.
Right.
And the king, to me, it's more like, the king is just a puppet at this point. In the beginning, a long time ago, it used to be that, at the beginning, it used to be that the king was the custodian, the assigned, exactly. Look, don't get all crazy, like, tinfoil hat on me, okay? Just because somebody wears a tin tie doesn't mean that they secretly know what we know. It could be that they just fucking like purple, but there is some connotation that can lead to somebody thinking that, which is fine. But at the end of the day, remember, use your analytical sense. Do you think a dumb fuck politician who says bullshit all the time and wears purple every once in a while is actually somebody
No, of
that will
course
be
he's,
trusted.
someone else is
know,
pulling the
it's
strings. Yes,
yeah, exactly.
but in terms
It
of
depends.
what they signal to each other right now is like, sometimes they can't communicate directly because they're also highly, they of course they are, how can you say,
Yeah.
they are scared of everything, so they communicate in this nonverbal term to not say anything out loud. So whoever is wearing the purple tie for that particular mission, for whatever it is that they are kind of elaborating right now, he is the one who's leading the charge, right? He kind of clearly signals that, and the string puller knows who he's putting in charge, and that he is signaling to the rest of the group without them necessarily knowing who the string puller is, but through the puppet he's signaling to the others, listen to him right now, it's important that you obey his orders. That's
It's
pretty much the
interesting
idea.
you say that because most of these seem to be. If that's the case, Jesus Christ, the orders are very bad because lately it's just been fail after fail. It's ironic, but people are like, "Oh, so how is it like you say all these secret societies exist, but like we know about them, so they can't be secret anymore. How is it?" And then you just go like, "Well, the only reason we know about them now is because somebody screwed up, somebody tried to fix it, but because they're stupid and they never had to face such a situation, they made it worse. And then somebody who has nothing to do with their group found out, but because they don't know the whole thing, they only spread what they know.
Mhm.
Then more people look
Yes.
into it. And then it's just this domino effect that at this point, it can't be stopped. And now, this knowledge is just being thrown out the window. And I mean, I like it. I like the fact that knowledge is
Mhm.
being thrown everywhere. But it's more like if somebody threw money in the air and a crowd of people were grabbing it. You kind of don't know what you're going to grab. And so, for those of us that seek a little bit more, we have to search a little bit deeper. And unfortunately, we have to sift through garbage
Yes.
in order to find the kernel of truth. And then, like puzzle pieces, match the kernels of truth together. And
Yes.
hopefully, we get the right answer. And if we don't, oh well, at least we had a good run. But either
Oh
way,
yeah.
it's not going to stop. It shouldn't stop you from trying to achieve that. You do need to try because let me tell you something. It's better than just pretending that everything is fine and that things will fix themselves because at that point you just become a very docile tool that can be abused to very dramatic effects like just look at the things that have been happening in the world. That's all I'm gonna say. What you're seeing happening in the world now and in the past, it's what happens when people just simply say, "Oh, I'll accept whatever I'm told, and not question it." And then you have the extreme where they're like, "I don't believe or accept anything, and so I'm gonna lash out." Those are two very bad extremes. Okay, you need to be balanced. Otherwise,
Yes.
you're gonna get screwed.
I mean, I
And
understand that
yeah,
people, of course, sometimes all this information drives them mad, and to find the right compass and the right navigational route, whether to believe something and what actually is true or what is the origin of all this, is super difficult. Maybe it's sometimes also a task that takes a whole life, or maybe even beyond that. But it's, first of all, when you have a purpose-driven mission in life where you really want to find truth or balance or like some sort of essence, it's never about actually finding that essence, right? We have that in Shaolin teachings and on all meditational teachings. It's never about finding chi or getting to nirvana or kind of connecting with the prana energy. It's about trying to do it. It's the process that illuminates you, and probably you will fail, but as long as you are going with others, you will enjoy the collective experience, and you kind of share your experiences with others and your memories, and also the advice that you get out of your reflections. This is where we grow spiritually and also materially as a collective, and this is how we get better, how we improve, and how we become a better collective on this planet, with respecting each and everyone's background, religion, faith, and proclivity for whatever it is that he wants to achieve.
yeah, no, I agree. By the way, I think we went
What
off the
was-
rails for
A
a
little
moment.
bit, but it was like sort of
yeah.
deep. It's about letting go. Yes.
Yeah, it's about letting go, like we did. And Daxonar, I'm sorry, man. I know you're a tool, but like, tell me, as
Tools
a
can be
tool,
very useful. Yeah.
as as a tool, okay, sir. Let me ask you this way: as a tool, would you like to be used by somebody that knows you're a hammer and uses you properly like a hammer, or would you want somebody that thinks you're a boomerang and throws you in the middle of nowhere and never comes back to pick you up? That's a good question.
Dun, dun, dun.
just trying to be a little goofy here, but yeah. Right. So where were we at, man? I fucking
No,
forgot.
we're just making a conclusive point. We're
Yes.
trying to kind of find,
Yeah.
like cohesive truth that kind of brings all these stories together. And
I was
just
I remember.
yeah.
I just remember.
You
I just
remember? Wow.
I remember something. Yeah.
I was trying to help you out there, but it's good to remember.
I want
so it's
to be
way
a
better than
sledgehammer.
my
If you want to be a sledgehammer, find a good warrior to
great
use you.
song. Yeah, great warrior too. Are you guys? You need a room, some moment for yourself?
Oh
Should I
no!
leave
God
you?
damn it! No, I wasn't trying to go the Rings of Power angle. God damn it! No, I was gonna say. Probably. What I was trying to say is that I found what you were mentioning earlier about knowledge suppression because, in Egypt, I didn't know this until I watched like someone's video where the guy, it's just one of those big YouTube channels. I think it was Tyler Oliveira. He does like a
Mhm.
lot of street interviews in different parts of the world, right?
Mhm.
Places with high crime rates or just random crap happening all over the world. And he went to Egypt and he just started randomly asking people. I'm not kidding. He's like, do you think aliens built these pyramids? And like, 95% of the people there, and he did the same thing in Mexico with their pyramids. 95% of the people there said no. But like flat out no, as in, oh yeah, I don't want to talk about it. Okay.
Mhm.
And there was one guy who I had to agree with him. Dude drank a fuck ton of Kool-Aid from the
Right.
establishment. Like this guy was
Right.
going like, oh no, you see the history here, like the Egyptians definitely built this over time and da 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 da. And
Mhm.
I'm like, and only thing I could agree with Tyler on was like, man, this guy sounds fucking delusional. I could easily destroy the fucking argument because they're always saying like, oh, human beings built these pyramids. And I'm like, well, yeah, I agree with you. Human beings did indeed build these pyramids. It wasn't aliens. But here's the thing, buddy. These are gigantic stones. Yes, it could have been done the way you describe, with thousands of people dragging these gigantic megalithic stones from a
We know
quarry.
that the University of Tokyo tried to kind of
Yeah.
recreate and reproduce that,
And
they
it failed.
miserably.
It failed miserably. But then we have articles from way back in the day. We're talking like almost 100 years ago by now, where we have this man who mysteriously owned a park where he ironically made little mini stone structures. And when somebody asked him how you did it, because these things are heavy, he's like, oh, I just learned the secrets of sound vibration and how you can
Yeah.
use them to tune the stone to a specific frequency that basically
That's-
makes it weightless.
Right,
And
Ned,
if you,
Ned Skeelen, right?
yeah.
He's not
And I
far
just-
away from me. It's beautiful.
What? No
Yeah,
way.
I've been there, and
Damn.
and the crazy thing, dude, you're bringing this up
What?
now, so there is no coincidence in the universe, right? It's always very interesting how we kind of always find the common thread. So the thing is that there are monuments. You can look up, according to your zodiac sign, what is the monument that describes you, that somehow kind of contains the power of that sign. What monument stands for what sign? And
Really?
the Scorpio sign stands for Coral Castle. So Coral Castle
Really?
stands for the yes. And I was always highly attracted to the place. And as soon as I moved here, I went there. And it was crazy. I meditated there. I drew also the place. And it's right here. It's at Netskelen and Coral Castle. I can highly. It's in Homestead, 45 minutes from Miami West. I can recommend to go there to anyone. It's an absolutely crazy place. And I talked also with some of the people who are, the troopers there, who are the park attendees and all that. And they say that this place is absolutely magical. It's nowhere near to kind of, yeah, it's absolutely magical. There are access to the underworld there. It's absolutely crazy.
I'm glad you found yours, because like they all talk about all these signs, and they're like, oh yeah, I have one here around the corner, and over here, like in a country I can take one single flight to. Meanwhile, I'm like, where the fuck do I fit in? Because like, believe it or not, I got for all you zodiac lovers, I'm a Libra. Okay, shocker. I know. Shocker. I know.
That's
patience,
why we
balance,
go so
that
well
whole
along.
shit.
Yeah, isn't that good? No, Scorpios and Libras are a great combination.
Yeah, and so I just want to say that because since we talk about crazy topics here, I can just let loose. But
Sure.
I found it interesting because I always wonder, like, what is there like a website that just says what monument is connected to Libra? Because I have no idea.
Yeah, for
all.
sure. You can definitely look it up. You can also I think find it on on Instagram or something. There are some sites where it's very interesting.
Dax and one too.
Yeah, Libra and Libra.
Yeah.
Oh, that's why we go so well along. That's great.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Just saying. Everything that we know so far is that whenever we are finding Sakai, Isaac, Ashkenaz, or Gutai, Guti, all these, they're all referring to the same culture. So the Goths, the Geti, the Guti, the Kush of India, they're all connected to the Scythians. And Scythians, of course, it's Saxons. And these people, they were the connectors to the Druids. And the Druids, they were called dragons back in the day. So when you see Saint George, the dragon slayer, what the picture is actually telling you, it's civilization destroyed culture. Culture represented by the dragon, represented by the druids, because the dragon is the druid. And if you kill the druid, you kill the old knowledge. You kill the mystical connection to nature. You kill the magical environment. You kill the interpreter of the otherworldly plane and realms that we can't see with our human eye, right? We kill the very wisdom that created lore, medicine, and archecture. Then the druids,
where did that lead again? We're kind of
yes.
Where'd that lead again? Back to the beginning. It's like a
exactly. Yeah, the cycle
it's like a Bilbo. It's like Bilbo's quote. There and back again.
Yes,
it's literally that. That's human history. We went there, and then now we're back at it again. It's like something you can't forget, because whether human beings want to accept it or not, we are connected to nature in one way or another. I'm not saying you have to become a tree hugger, people. Okay, chill out. Okay,
no, chill out.
I'm not asking you to become a furry or a tree hugger. Okay,
right.
If you want to be that, great.
Even though there is some,
okay,
hug the tree. Don't do weird stuff, but hug the tree if you want to do that.
You know what's crazy? There's a reason why a lot of these buildings are megalithic. It's because stone is directly connected to earth, primordial part of nature.
Yes,
and it lasts for a long time, and
it's not changeable, right? It never changes its dimension or scale.
And what's even crazy is that when you walk to some of these monuments, you may not even know they're monuments. It's just a very cool old stone building or whatever it is, or monument. You go to it, and sometimes, yes, Daxonar, I know trees can give consent. What can I say? I'm not a furry or tree hugger. But with these, I was wondering if this was like a rare thing, but apparently it's pretty commonplace. Some people report that when they touch certain old stones, ancient stones, they get like this immediate download of info. We're talking very rapid,
Yes.
upload an info, and that's why they put signs in places like Stonehenge, for example, where they're like, "Oh,
Yes.
don't touch it, don't touch the damn things." And
Yeah. Yeah.
you know, it's not because they're afraid, people. It's not because they're afraid that the stones
Eh,
are gonna fall down. Like, I highly doubt if these things have been standing
No,
for a
they
long
won't.
time. That I
Don't
don't
worry.
think that, like, unless you got a sledgehammer, I don't think it'll fall. Okay, I'm just
And
saying.
I'm just saying also one thing to everybody who's listening, and you should listen very closely now. So when you go through stone portals, you know, there could be a church, there could be an Arc de Triomphe of Paris or somewhere else. You know, think of the fact that, you know, every country is building all these triumph arches, and they're in every major town, right? So you know, when you go through a stone portal, you can, and by touching that stone, if that's, you know, you can download the information, but you can also, when you go through a certain portal without actively realizing that you're going through one, you can also, or you can be uploaded in terms of information. What do I mean by that? Is like, you have to be very careful when you are stepping through these portals, through these Arc de Triomphe, these triumph arches and all that, because they are made of stone. You are beneath the surface. There's always a water source. So there's water that is moving, that is activating the lime, the granite, the very, you know, it's electroconductive stone. Usually these arches are built of, and when you're going through that, they can upload information from you if you're not protecting yourself. So yes, it's good to download information, but always be very thoughtful of what type of portal you're going through, because you're giving away information.
I mean, yeah, that's called. I think some alternative people have given it the name of light data, basically, and so
Yeah.
it's called light data or something like that.
Yeah, I like that.
And,
It's a pretty good definition to be.
I mean, yeah, it's what it's used now.
Right.
You know, the only thing I like about the New Age movement is that at least we got terms we can work with. But like, you know, again, same thing with New Age stuff. Like, look, guys, just guard your mind. Not everything
Yes.
they say is true. I've learned it myself pretty early on. I was never in any of those stupid groups, because at the end of the day, knowledge is something that you have to learn on your own. It's not wrong to discuss it or even pursue it with other people. More like the analyzing of the information has to be done by yourself, because you need to get that deeper insight and do introspection and figure out if the information that you're seeing is actually true. Don't fall for the trap of the cult way, because a lot of these New Age movements, they're like weird derivatives of Christianity, if you will. Not all of them are. They're very strange. Not all of them actually pursue this. It's more like, oh, somebody wants to make money off of some shit, and so they claim to be this.
Yes.
Usually, you can tell.
But
Whoever
it's-
is,
yes.
yeah, go ahead. What's up?
No, yeah. This thing about, you know, claiming that you're from a bloodline you aren't from is, of course, it's a very dangerous endeavor. So sometimes it's a fake agent that was placed there with some knowledge, and some of the knowledge might be also accurate, but of course it's kind of the condiment of that knowledge. So maybe there is like a core piece that is actual factual true, but they build, of course, circles of bullshit around it, so you get lost in the research once you really are getting interested. But most of the time, of course, you couldn't claim to be of a certain bloodline if you're not really from that bloodline. Otherwise, you are in deep trouble, right?
Yeah. And
What
you
they,
know,
I mean, they could use you as a false, like a fake informant, right? And they let you do your work, right? If they believe that you are not a threat and that you're just spreading misinformation, you're basically doing their work, so they're happy and they won't kind of, you know, they won't intermingle with you. But you know, that's sad. These people, why do you think they copy their symbols and they place it everywhere, and why they observe all these timestamps and these dates? Because they are obsessed about it. And therefore also by the words that they use, the symbolism, everything, they truly believe that they somehow get power, recognition, and yeah, access to other realms through these symbols, through these meanings, through these numbers and all that. And so therefore they truly, for them, it's faith. That's why they keep repeating, kind of showing up with these symbols.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, I do want to mention something
Sure.
Dungeon Master mentioned, and that yes, originally there is this theory in alternative
Yeah.
circles, because Egyptologists will not ever admit the shit, because
Yeah.
then that would mean further excavation is needed and that they're wrong. But the idea is that there's a theory that there were two sphinxes. It makes sense
We also have
architecturally
drawings.
speaking. Yeah,
We have
because
drawings of the two sphinxes.
and originally they were made of lion heads. They didn't have
Yes.
human heads. That was like some alteration that was done on the remaining one, and originally this used
Right.
to be a sacred entrance to basically a pyramid temple that was like a portal, if you will,
Mm.
to communicate with other dimensions. That's what some people say.
Yeah.
Others say it was an energy power plant. And then there are others who's like, oh, it has nothing. It was just a tomb. Either way, the way I see it is, I don't think it's a tomb. More like it's probably the tip of what I assume to be a much larger structure buried under the sand.
Yes.
But that maybe had multiple levels and may have had some capacity, like, yes, a power plant, but also because of the unique energy properties of said pyramid, it would have been likely that it would explain why some people, when they walk inside the Great Pyramid of Giza and they just meditate or just sit there in calm and silence, because people forget, like, you don't have to be a hippie, new ager, or whatever you want to talk about it in order to enter into a meditative state. You can easily enter into a meditative state if you have the right mindset, which is you control your breathing, or you breathe in a certain, if you're not that experienced in controlling your breathing, just breathe in a certain pattern, then close your eyes and then focus. Okay? If you see shit, if you start seeing some weird shit, just imagine a fucking bubble around you. That should take care of that shit. And then, like as if you're looking at a set of JPEG pictures on your computer, ignore the irrelevant pictures and focus on the ones that make fucking sense. And as you do that, things will things will be way much easier. And I will say this, you will be less susceptible to bullshit suggestion. But to go back on this photo, because I think it's very interesting that you showed it, Coach.
Yes.
Before I go too far in derailing.
Oh no, that's okay. It's been only 3 minutes. You derailing my stream. I mean, come on.
No,
You're under your usual average time. I'm almost disappointed, dude.
I know.
You can
bro.
derail as much as you want. First of all, I found your voice very calming and soothing. And second of all, you are a well of knowledge, so I'm always impressed also by the eloquence of your lexicon.
Yeah, never mind. I'll keep that for me and you when the stream is over. But no.
You can do whatever, man. Don't worry.
Some things can't be mentioned here.
Yeah.
Unless you've felt a sense of it. But to go to this picture, okay, this picture that you were showing. Could you pop it up real quick? Because I
absolutely.
I think it was a mummy.
You mean
is that one of these mummies?
It's one of the mummies. Absolutely astonishing picture. Let me just get it back here.
Yeah, I want to see this. Very interested in these mummies, because you don't see a lot of these mummies in general. Like in East Asia anyway, you don't see these kinds of unique mummies that look very out of place for a area or region that people say, oh no, it was predominantly this height and this hair color and this
and
this skin color.
let me see. Where? Because I have
It
the
was
Mithra
the
show.
mummy.
It
The
was the mummy.
mummy.
Where
Show me
is
the
it?
mummy.
Oh, is it? Why don't you talk a little bit about your breakfast this
Okay.
morning, and I find the mummy in the meal.
Okay, Daxonar. I mean, I guess I can do it. Okay. Basically, there is this idea that people don't kind of put together. So, in the general terms of meditation, okay, some people always say, "Oh, just breathe, focus, let whatever is coming in, and you'll be fine." The way I see it is, you got two polar opposites. You got the ones that, oh Lord, I hate saying this, but like you got the equivalent of, oh, you got the
Okay,
equivalent of the, yeah, you got the equivalent of the far left in meditation, which is basically like, let anything in and we'll deal with it later, even though that's very toxic and unhealthy.
Yes.
And then you have the meditation equivalent of the far right, which is basically you only let in what
That's
you're
good.
comfortable with, and anything that is not in your accepted viewpoint will get exterminated. There's equivalents of that in meditation, and honestly, I don't agree with either of them. I believe efficient meditation comes through balance and also timing. You don't have to meditate every single day to find balance. Hell, just finding your day being fulfilling is, sorry.
I don't know what you think about it, but in a way, even your active duty is a meditation. Like if you do something, right? Like even cooking, you're cooking something with love, with passion, you're cleaning the vegetables, and you're preparing a meal that, satisfies and gives you nutrients and vitamins. And that itself is, what you do there is meditation. Cleaning, the ritual, everything. You give that breath, passion, and that food will taste good, and it will, nurture you. And so therefore, everything that in a way nurtures you through a repetition, a ritual, can be technically considered a meditation. So it can be also active. And by the way, we have active meditations on the channel. Welcome to check them out here. And actually, the strongest products, the strongest videos on our channel are actually meditation videos. That's crazy. And the open class doodles with these fine gentlemen over here.
Ooh, it's interesting you say that, because so this mummy, first off,
yes,
understand. So to give you an idea of the spiritual knowledge most of these societies had, even if they couldn't map it out like we can now, you can see a lot of them. They either have one hand or both hands. Basically, they're crisscrossing each other over the heart area, because if you didn't know, in many spiritual circles, the heart line or heart chakra is where the lower and divine frequencies, so to speak, or energies collide. Because at the end of the day, the one keeping them in balance is the heart. Hence why in many of these ancient cultures, a lot of people have a very hard time, and especially I've seen it in Christianity too, a lot of the Abrahamic religions have a hard time understanding the concept of the heart, because all of them say the heart is mostly evil, but it can bring some good. But then, always rely on your rational mind and the teachings in the book, which, if that's what helps you find peace, so be it. I do want to say, like the word amen, so be it, bro. If that helps you, go for it. I will not condemn you for it. But Jesus himself, did say the heart is very important. It is, in fact, the key to to unlocking divinity and understanding balance of everything around you. It's what begins
the frequency.
Connection.
It's the heart frequency.
Yeah, so always think of that. It's same thing with
It's an electrical knot, right? So we have an electrical frequency that gives the heartbeat. And now if you break down what a heartbeat is, right? That is it's just a phenomenal thing, right? That's the contraction and expansion of our life system. And so if you have an electrical impulse that guides the water in your body, that means that you are redirected to a frequency. Now, if you understand the concept that everything in a way is a scalar wave and therefore has a sonar property, and if you now can tune in through a meditation into the right frequency, also with the help of classical music and of course, being surrounded by good things in a great, healthy environment that is clean. Maybe you have crystals at home or great plants, and everything that helps to kind of create that frequency will put you in tune, where heartbeat and water resonance kind of function in the same wave, with the same scalar wave. And when that happens, this is when we have moments of so-called epiphany. This is when we have moments where we envision stuff, where we have great and bright ideas, where inventors come up with incredible and groundbreaking inventions, or singers with a song that they never thought they could, write down, or painters with that master stroke that defines the painting, and little YouTubers like ourselves with a great intro. I know how to coin this, right? So this is when the frequencies align. And exactly that happens also when we fall in love. Believe it or not, when frequencies align with the other heartbeat, this is when we fall in love, because our water resonates.
And I find it very interesting you say that, John. Yes, people sometimes want the door, because that would mean you would have to face your feelings, face yourself, basically, because the thing is, like, the heart is very interactive. It's like it's like with the if I could call the heart something, it's like basically if I could use an equivalent, it would be like a game's controls systems. Okay, it's what allows you, the player, or the soul in this case, to move around and figure out and interact with the world. And if that shit is not updated or or upkept, I should say, then the system will crash. And I find it very interesting because usually there's, when people try to go after the door, it's because they don't want to face something that has been demonized, which is your feelings. Now, look, I understand. Of course, unchecked feelings obviously lead to negative consequences. That is common sense. I'm not going to deny that. But at one point or another, you can't really ignore your feelings. That doesn't mean you have to be like a crybaby all the time, be super emotional all the time. You don't have to be. When I say face your feelings, it means just sit somewhere alone for like 2 seconds. Hell, do it in your sleep if sleep makes it easier for you. And just let your brain visualize what the heart is trying to tell you. Because most of the time, I will say this, if somebody feels depressed or they have some issue, and I'm not a doctor, but I've noticed this myself, when I feel a certain way, usually what I try to do is basically just let the feelings I don't want to come in just flood in, and then
simply
let it over.
Them.
Just give them their time of day. Yes. Let them overwhelm you, but not too much. Be aware of the limit, and then just sit there and look at it, and then you'll see the root cause of it. But the thing is, this requires a lot of self-discipline. It's like working out. If you want to get to a certain shape, you have to be very disciplined. That's why a lot of these ancient cultures always combined physical fitness with the spiritual teachings, because the idea is that, okay, if you can attain physical discipline, then it'll be easier to attain spiritual discipline, because you've already learned it from a prior source. You're just using a different method to get to this other end.
And also because these occult teachers and these great spiritual mentors, they knew one thing, that what you just said about the heart, by the way, was really beautiful. And the thing is, you have the heart, that is the heart makes us see, and the heart makes us want. It creates the courage. That's why it's called le courage, le cœur, right? Courage comes from heart. So the heart lets us see and also realize what we want, but the mind makes us believe because it recognizes the pattern. So when we repeat something like a mantra, something that is healthy, and our brain recognizes the pattern over time, that reinforces our belief that we're doing something good for ourselves. So already the placebo effect of believing that it will be good induces us to recuperate, induces our body to feel better. It induces neurochemicals that are healthy for our immune system. It regulates our blood pressure. So believe and courage together. This is where the change comes, right? And this is where your health starts. Your mental, your physical, and your spiritual health starts.
Yeah. And like I said, look, that it all starts. The reason you don't have to do, I'm going to say something fucking controversial. You don't have to do fucking meditation. You don't have to do meditation to reach the state.
Yes.
You can do meditation is, as I call it, just one of many roads you can take to reach the same destination. It's just for some people, it's easier. For others, it's impossible. You know, if physical fitness allows you to reach that state, so be it. If interacting with people in a certain way allows you to reach it, so be it. If you want to combine it with something with meditation, fucking do it. If it's just for you, the individual, give it a go. But don't try to force that on others, because at that point, it may not work for them. You know, because what works for you doesn't. Exactly. That's the problem.
And accept the fact that everybody works in a different way. And hey, if you want to work in a flawless way, why don't you come over to readytoperform.com, right? If you want to be a performer that creates astonishing entertainment for the masses and kind of, it spreads out the cloak of magic and stardust over his audiences, and you have that burning desire to perform, to create, to entertain people, why don't you stop my website? Stop by, write me a message. Let's set up a discovery session. If you find out we're a great match for each other, our interests align as well as our core values, then maybe we could start a creative adventure and make a great performer out of you.
Smooth as butter.
Just saying. Just saying. Just saying, sir. Right. Yeah. If you're looking for some creative guidance, come over to the COACHMC studio. Also, we have a beautiful masterclass happening the 25th of July, where it's going to be about improv, right? A great talent for us actors and performers to really, top of your head, come up with ideas, change the narrative of your scene, and direct yourself inside of the movie, create your own universe and be the improv master with our masterclass. You can have the tickets on Eventbrite, or you can just follow the link in the description, or you can go to my Instagram through my link tree, or that's pretty much it. There are no other ors.
You just want to say or. And
I just love or.
Yeah, I know. Or. No, but I did want to mention something very interesting. You should Daxonar. You should. Okay. He is at the end of the day a former, well, probably still current actor. I'm not sure. Are you like full-time actor? Are you still like full-time coach or
I'm a full-time coach. No. I shifted when I moved to the US. Okay. I shifted, and now I'm a full-time coach who sometimes acts. Before that, in Europe, I was a full-time actor who sometimes coached.
Ooh, interesting. Well, now you have it. Again, remember, this is a guy that has, I believe at this point, is it 30 or 40 years of experience, Coach? Come on, let them know that.
Almost 40.
Well, there you go.
Almost 40.
Well, who better to teach you things properly than somebody who lived during the days where you either got it or you left. No choices.
No choices at all.
This is somebody who's been in this industry for a long time. Just saying, Daxonar. You should take it up one day. And look. If you just want to be good on public speaking, he's your man. You want to be good on acting, he's your man. And at the end of the day, I do want to say, this man does inspire me, because I am terrible at doing fucking improv for like my scripts. I literally have to write shit out, and then I read the script, and I'm like, holy crap! Is this what a director sees when they're writing shit? Yeah, and so I think it'll help anyone out, especially if they need some confidence in their speaking abilities. But yeah, no, I think this today was a pretty good talk. Unfortunate that our wonderful edgy Araman was vanquished by the
our Welsh word wizard wizard left us too soon today for sure.
The Welsh wizard was locked in a confrontation with the shitty Nazgul from Rings of Power. They took out his internet connection, and unfortunately, he was punished because of that. Too much racism, and now he has to watch season 1 of Rings of Power in its entirety. No breaks.
My God! That can't be true. I mean, this is
and then the Velma TV show right after. Oh man! Speaking of which, I will be covering that the dumpster fire. That is the second season, which I heard is very bad, but it's like people are scared of covering it because it's like, oh my God, I don't want to ruin my time. I will make the sacrifice. It's okay.
So please let us know where we can find you and what you usually do when you're not connecting with me and talking about history and shit.
Yeah, of course. So my name is Dragon Slayer Commentaries. I do sarcastic commentary, as the name suggests, on basically things that come out of the Hollywood dumpster fire usually, but sometimes I cover good things, such as in the realm of TV shows and movies. And I am currently working on a project. Yes, I'm currently working on a project where Coach's ASMR noises will definitely be implemented one way or another. And this project will be on the Civil War movie. Yes, I know I'm a little late on that, but barely anybody has covered that movie. Afterwards, it'll be Rebel Moon Part 2, which was the biggest disappointment ever from Zack Snyder.
Man, that was so bad.
I never thought the worst slow-mo farming simulator would
come on. It's enough. Man, it's enough.
It was pretty bad. That one, it might be a short review because I'm like, I don't have much to talk about.
I'm looking out for it, but your review will definitely be better than the movie. But the series, whatever that is.
That shit was terrible. And then after that, it will be the Velma season 2 show. That one. I am just not gonna give a shit. Like I will literally make I will use it as a social experiment. Okay, I will just say what I need to say. We're gonna put shitty thumbnails in there. Okay, none of the bright and flashy shit. Just shitty thumbnails with the most crazy shit ever on them, and I don't give a crap. Okay, because I don't care enough about Mindy Kaling's trash heap to even spend money on having somebody make me a good thumbnail. Like I am not gonna do that. And
it's crazy. Like
you talk about
yes, no, please.
No, and Daxonar. What do you mean Zach's poor reputation? Bro, look, this man said if this movie does not do well, I think it would be time for me to go back to adult film sets. And after watching that movie, I'm like, yes, you definitely should.
Yeah, you definitely should. I think in the meanwhile, even adult film sets have enough of the slow-mo orgy extravaganza in the little sense. But hey, thank you so much, man, for stopping by today. It was truly like a great opportunity to kind of dive into this I find very fascinating topic. Let us know also, Chad, what you thought of today's episode of Open Class Doodles. Episode 31 is in the books. We talked about the Scythians, this ancient culture, civilization, the Order of the Serpent, that kind of, that was based on these observations and how they influenced like a part of our culture and also today's symbolism and everything. So definitely another mosaic piece of the riddles of the past has been turned around and inserted in our grand picture. And step by step, episode by episode, we're going to uncover all of them. And if we live by the end of this series, if we make it to the end and we're not being kidnapped by some agency for exposing the truth, we're going to have a great firework by the end of the year. We're going to have a nice inaugural, and a beautiful anniversary episode about, all the doodles that we created and all the history that we kind of, searched through. And it's never going to end anyway. So don't worry. We're going to stick around. We're always going to be here. If you're looking for great entertainment, just hit us up on Saturday Night Hypnosis. If you're looking for some guidance in entertainment industry, then, look me up on the COACHMC studio, or just send me an email through readytoperform.com, or visit the masterclass. And, most generally, just like what Mithra said in the past, think well, speak well, act well, then only well can happen to you. So it was a pleasure meeting you guys. Thank you so much to the chat, John, Dexinar Zero, Dungeon Master Blazer. Thank you so much, Hypnotic, for stopping by. The Gooch was in here today. Maria and many others. Thank you so much. It's been really a blast, guys, transmitting this information to you. I hope you enjoyed. Vincinger, also thank you so much. And we see us next time with the next Open Class Doodle. It's going to be Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then we're going to have a Tuesday episode without the good Dragon Slay and without good Ryan Roger Athe. And then we will get... No, of course you will be back on next Tuesday. Yes, next Tuesday you will be back already with another great episode on shedding light into the mysteries of the past. Without adding anything else? No, I don't think so. We're good for today. Thank you so much, guys, again. And see you with the next one. Now you're ready to perform.